Hello everyone, welcome back to Selena's Corner. Today let's understand all the MCQs that can be formulated on B.Ed Course 204 Disaster Management, Unit 2 Disaster Management Preparedness and Manifestation of Mitigation. Let's begin. Dash refers to the measures taken to prepare for and reduce the effects of disasters. Option A, disaster response. Option B, medical help. Option C, disaster preparedness. And option D, mitigation. When they talk about preparation for disaster and reducing the effects of disaster, it's going to be option C, that is disaster preparedness. Question 2. At an individual level, what will you do to be prepared for any disaster? Let's go point-wise. Make a list of emergency contacts. Yes. And also make it widely available so that everybody is ready in case of any emergency. Second, ensure adequate drainage around your house. Also, yes. Now, don't say that I'm not staying in a flood prone area. The emergency could be there's a cloud burst, and then because of that, there is so much water accumulated that it starts flooding your area. So, if the drainage system is proper, it might reduce the effect of it. Third point, relocate generators in the basement. No, this is not something that you would do because generators generate electricity, and if you put them in the basement where there could be a leakage problem or due to flooding the waters rushing in, this could create even more disastrous events. So you need to relocate your generators on a higher level of the building. Fourth point, buy insurance. Yes, because this is going to give you monetary help in times of a disaster. Fifth, identify escape routes. Also, yes, if you're prepared now, it's going to help later on, as after a disaster strikes, there is a lot of commotion and confusion and trauma that you can't think correctly that time. So, if you're prepared now, it's helpful. So, our correct answer would be points 1, 2. Okay, so all except point 3, option A. Question 3. Disaster preparedness at work is also important. Are places of entertainment and religion included in this category? Option A, yes. Option B, no. Option C, only places of entertainment are included. And option D, only religious places are included. Well, since they've mentioned this statement that disaster preparedness at work, so I would say even places of entertainment and religion are places of work for certain people, isn't it? So our answer would be option A, yes, it is included in this category. Question 4. Disaster preparedness at all levels include option A, fire extinguishers, option B, first aid kits, option C, emergency communication channels, or option D, all of the above. The correct answer would be option D, all of the above. Question 5. Who offers a ready rating program to help offices, businesses, and organizations better prepare for disasters and emergencies? Option A, World Health Organization. Option B, Red Cross. Option C, National Health Portal of India. Or option D, Medical Council of India. The correct answer is option B, Red Cross. It is a ready rating program. So basically it is trying to assess if that particular business or office is ready, is it prepared for disasters? So after evaluation, the businesses come to know what is their ability of withstanding emergencies and protecting lives and also maintaining their own operations. So they can take part in this for free, and once the evaluation is done, they come to know all the obstacles that are there in their current plan, and accordingly they can change their disaster preparedness plan. Question 6. Dash are required to have an EOP, that is Emergency Operations Plan, which describes how a facility will respond to and recover from all hazards. Option A, industries. Option B, hospitals. Option C, offices. Or option D, theatres. The correct answer is option B, hospitals. Question 7. Fire safety systems should be kept in good operating conditions and inspected every dash. Option A 1 year, option B 3 years, option C 1 month, option D 3 months. Correct answer is option D 3 months. So every 3 months the inspection should be done, and a record of all these inspections should be kept on file. These files need to be maintained for the next 2 years at least. Question 8. What kind of disaster took place in Taj Hotel Mumbai and when? Option A, natural disaster 2011, man-made disaster 2010, natural disaster 2009, or man-made disaster 2008. So this disaster is known as 2008 Mumbai attacks, right? So when the uh, terrorist group, that is Lashkar-e-Taiba, attacked Mumbai in 4 different places, and Taj Mahal Hotel was one of those places. So it was a terrorist attack, and hence it was a man-made attack, and this happened in the year 2008. So option D would be our correct answer. Question 9. Internal and external disaster plans of any hospital should be developed in accordance with the guidelines published by Dash. Option A, American Hospital Association. Option B, World Health Organization. Option C, Red Cross. Option D, none of the above. Correct answer is option A, American Hospital Association. Question 10. What should hotels not do to be disaster prepared? Option A. Plan and organize effective security systems. Option B. Make hotel layout available to all. Option C. Set up a sophisticated communication system. And option D. None of the above. The correct answer would be option B. Make hotel layout available to all. Now, in these Mumbai attacks, what had happened was the terrorists knew the complete layout of the hotel, and that's why they were able to easily move around and create a lot of destruction. Whereas the NSG, that is National Security Guard, they were at a disadvantage because they didn't know about all this. So, hotel layouts need to be available to the disaster management team and also to the rescuing agents and forces and security people, but not available to all the people. Question 11. Crush disasters do not happen due to dash. What are crush disasters? Example, stampedes. So people get crushed in such a disaster, hence the name crush disasters. Option A, overbooking. Option B, no assigned seat numbers. Option C, heavily discounted retail sales. Option D, none of the above options. So you see in option A, B and C, there is basically a huge number of people gathered in one little space. Mostly there is confusion or because there are no seat numbers, or there could be anger because of overbooking and there are too many people accumulated, or there could be too much of excitement and rush for retail sales. So all three can lead to crash disasters. So our correct answer would be option D, none of the above options. Question 12. Actions that attempt to prevent a disaster or reduce its harmful impact on people and economic assets are called dash. Option A, disaster recovery. Option B, disaster preparedness. Option C, disaster mitigation. Or option D, disaster response. Here the correct answer is disaster mitigation. Now, don't get confused between disaster preparedness and disaster mitigation. Disaster preparedness is more about planning for the best response to any disaster and measures taken to reduce its effect. But mitigation tries to prevent, okay, prevent a disaster from happening, and this is primary mitigation. And if it still does happen, then reducing the harmful effect of that disaster becomes secondary mitigation. So you recall the cycle of disaster management. In that, the first thing that we try to do is prevent, that is mitigation. Even if the disaster occurs, then we go on to disaster preparedness. We try to salvage the situation and reduce the effect of the disaster, isn't it? So when the word prevention is used, it is mitigation. When they are trying to um, plan for the best response, then it's going to be preparedness. Question 13. Maps are important tools in disaster mitigation. Give your opinion regarding the statement. Option A, yes, they serve an important purpose. Option B, no, they are not important. Option C, I don't see any logical connection. Option D, I didn't understand the statement. Correct answer is yes, they serve an important purpose because all these maps show information such as population distribution, rivers, roads, tunnels, all the airports, railway routes, seaports, etc. And all this information is really important to plan any kind of disaster management plan. So yes, it's an important tool in disaster mitigation. Question 14. Which conditions lead to the spread of disease after a disaster? Option A, unplanned and overcrowded shelters. Option B, poor sanitation conditions. Option C, poor water. Option D, all of the above. I think there's no explanation needed. Option D is going to be our correct answer, all of the above. Question 15. How many phases are there where medical attention is required? Option A 2, option B 3, 4 or 5. So the correct answer is option B, that is 3. So the first stage includes immediate rescue of the people who are affected. This period may last up to a week. The second stage is the period of outbreak for infectious diseases. This can start from the first week and continue on to about a month. The third phase is recovery phase. This is where medical attention is needed. If it is not given, these infectious diseases can grow into an epidemic. So these are the three phases where medical attention is required. Question 16. Points to be kept in mind while establishing a disaster control center. Point A. It should be structurally sound and sited in a minimum risk location. Point B. Low cost of purchase and equipping it. Point C. Both points A and B. Or point D. None of the above. Now, point A, yes, it needs to be structurally sound and located in a minimum risk area. Point B is not accurate because सस्ता है इसीलिए खरीद लिया and equipment सब सस्ते में मिल गया, लेकिन it should serve the purpose, right? So point D is not a option. So we would say that correct answer is option A. Question 17. Which of the following is not an objective of the search and rescue teams? Option A. Look for survivors trapped under debris. Option B. Provide training and inculcate awareness among locals. Option C. Hand over and dispose of bodies of the deceased. Option D. None of the above. Points A, B and C are all objectives of a search and rescue team. So our correct answer is option D. None of the above. Question 18. What is the minimum age of a volunteer of rescue operations? Option A 18 years, option B 21 years, option C 25 years, option D 30 years. Correct answer is 18 years of age. A volunteer needs to be either girl or boy, doesn't matter. Minimum 18 years of age. Question 19. Which technique is best to move an unconscious disaster victim over a smooth surface for a short distance? Option A, ankle pull, option B, shoulder pull, option C, blanket roll, or option D, none of the above. For better understanding, look at this picture. First picture is of an ankle pull technique, second picture is shoulder pull, and third picture is blanket roll. As you can see, the first technique is not too great because the victim's head is unsupported. So it can bump over any kind of obstacles or something. The second, that is shoulder pull, is better than the ankle pull because now the person's head is secure. But out of the three, I would say the blanket roll is the best because the victim's entire body is secure inside the blanket and it's easier for the rescuer to even pull the blanket without hurting the victim. So our correct option will be option C, blanket roll. Question 20. Which technique is best for you and your friend to use to carry an unconscious disaster victim over long distances? Option A, two-handed seat. Option B, four-handed seat. Option C, one-person arm carry. And option D, tied hands crawl. For this also I'll show you pictures so it's easy for you to understand and remember. Look at these pictures. The first one is two-handed seat, second four-handed seat, third one-person arm carry, and fourth tied hands crawl. So the first one, as you can see, the rescuers have held hands and formed the seat. The other two hands they have used as a backrest for the person. In the second picture, the rescuers have used both their hands to form only the seat. There is no backrest, and that is why the victim needs to hold on to the rescuer so that he doesn't fall. For this, the victim needs to be conscious. Remember. Third is there's only one single rescuer and he's holding that person in his arms. And fourth one is where the victim is unconscious, so his hands have been tied with a scarf or something and then put across the rescuer's neck. And then the rescuer crawls on the ground and drags the victim along with him. Now you see option 3 and 4 are out of the question because these are single person rescuers. In the question, they have told you and your friend. So there are two rescuers and the victim is unconscious. For this, you will need technique number 1, as there is a back support provided in a two-handed seat. In the four-handed seat, there is no backrest and hence the victim needs to be conscious. Thus, we can say that the best technique for two people rescuers to carry an unconscious victim over long distance would be a two-handed seat, option A. Thank you guys for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel, and I would advise you that you go through your notes. It's pretty easy. There's not much material that you can formulate MCQs on, but if you read, you will at least have the information that you will need to answer any kind of MCQ that the university throws at you. So thank you and please keep studying.